I will. Are we live? Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the Thursday night, October 7th, 2021 Town of Bowling Green Council meeting. We do have a quorum. Welcome, Jean. She's on the phone. And I'd like to call to order. And if everybody would stand and follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
And one nation under God.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
the minutes need to reflect that Ms. Jean Davis, is participating from her home here in Bowling Green for a medical reason, and we need a vote of council to authorize her to participate electronically.
Okay. Do I hear
I'll make that
a
motion.
motion? I got a motion by Jeff. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Gaines. All in favor, say aye. Oppose? All righty, motion passes. Welcome aboard, Jean, again.
Thank you.
We hope you're feeling better.
I do. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Before we get started with the public comments, I take it everybody saw the big green sheet in here about asking questions about consent agendas and stuff. Do we have anything that we need to do for the consent agendas before we start? Because once we get going, when I get to the consent agendas, we're just going to roll on through with it. Everybody good? All right.
Ellison, did my changes get reflected? Oh, email I sent you in my. Let me go over to the. Do you want to just pull it and do it at the time? It's the minutes.
Is there something in the minutes we need to pull the minutes out? Which one?
Can you just pass that by and come back to it and give her a chance to pull the email?
I can do that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Public comments. I'd like to open up public comments. If you have anything you want to approach council about, please come up, state your name and your address, and I open public comments up. Anybody at all, public comments? Seeing none, hearing none. I'd like to close public comments. Member comments. Any council member would like to say something, add something, praise somebody, something they did past 2 months?
Yes, I have something.
Go ahead, Jean.
I have a thank you note from the family of Tracy Wright's father. Thank you sincerely for your thoughtful kindness at a time when it was deeply appreciated and gratefully acknowledged. The family of David Eugene Cox, Top. Thank you so much for the flowers sent in honor of our father. Your thoughtfulness is greatly appreciated. The family of Gene Cox.
Well, very good. Thank you, Jean, for sharing that. Appreciate that. Anybody else?
I'd like to acknowledge Josh from Utilities for getting on that rebar at the playground and fixing it same day. Thank you. Keeping us safe.
Yeah, don't need no little children falling on that rebar. That was good. Thank you. Any other council members before we move on? All right. Moving on to staff reports. First, we have Public Works. We've got August 2021 and September 2021. Josh, is there anything you want to say, or is there any questions for Josh?
Turn that mic on when you're up there too. Thanks.
All right, hopefully. Hello? All right. So the water meter project replacement has already started. They're about 15% done. some of the newer water meter boxes didn't have to be replaced, so it was just a meter swap out, checking the condition of everything. So they're 15% complete on replacing the meters. I just want to let everyone know that next Monday they'll be in the older section of Maury Heights on Harding Drive. I'm gonna get with Joelsa. She's been helpful on posting it on Facebook and the town's website. And get that notified on there. And then tomorrow I'm gonna have the guys go around and put a door knocker on the older section of Maury Heights, because they will be not only replacing the meters, but some of the water meter boxes and things like that. So they'll be digging in people's yards. I just want everyone to be aware that there will be digging. The contractor will be out there. So please don't harass them. If you have any questions, please contact myself or Town Hall. Judy and Tracy will relay the messages. But
Josh, what are the blue flags for again?
so the blue flags are for water marking. So there's different color flags for water, sewer, electrical. So the blue flags are for the water to help the contractors know where the water meters are, the location of them.
Does every house not get one?
So it depends. If you don't see one, it's probably because the water meter is either right there, easily like seen, or it's because the water meter is probably in another location.
Thank you.
I have a question. I had on Maury Avenue, we had a new water meter replaced
Mm.
when Melissa was here, right at the end of her reign. Will I still be getting a new one, or?
Depending on what kind it is. So
Okay.
we're going with what it's called a Census iPearl. So some of the meters that are out there are that brand, and they're
Okay.
under a certain age, so we're going to keep those,
Sure.
and then just put a radio transmitter on. So I'd have to look at your address.
Yeah, just wondering.
Yeah, it just depends on what kind it
Because
is.
it's pretty new.
Yeah, if it's
It's
unfortunately
within
if
the last
it's
year and a half, probably, or the last 2 years at the most.
okay. So unfortunately it's yeah. Well, it depends on what they put in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Josh. On the August monthly report under water, it said that there was a meeting conducted with the Department of Health to discuss location for a new well site. Did that meeting take place yet?
Yeah, it has. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And was
Yeah.
that a good outcome, or did we identify a few different locations? Or
So as far as like locations, unfortunately, town doesn't own like a whole lot of land. But it was a good outcome where that it was approved to put it. So currently, well 4 is at Cedar Lane. That's the one that has to be abandoned, and it was approved for a new well there. So
understood. Okay, thank you.
Oh, have you gotten a quote on the security gates? Did that come in yet?
part of it, yes. Then I got to get a quote on the electrical, but part of it, yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Josh. All right, next we have Police Department monthly reports for August and September. Anybody have any questions for Justin? Or does Justin have anything he'd like to say? Okay, hearing none. We have Community and Economic Development for August and September. Anybody have any questions for Joe Elsa, or Joe Elsa, you have anything you'd like to share?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Just want to give you guys a little rundown. The month of August was spent doing mostly Music on the Green, which was a really great, successful concert series. I think it was very great for our downtown business community and beyond. I know it's a busy night for Romas every Friday. Clean Sweep was a couple of weekends ago, also very successful. It's great that we get to offer these events to folks in town. Harvest Festival, as you know, is a large project with many moving parts. I'm in a phase now where I am finalizing, fine-tuning, calling, doing a lot of follow-up to make sure that plans that were coordinated a month, 2, 3 months ago are, making sure we're going to have bathrooms at the Harvest Festival, that sort of thing. But things are going very well. We do have a good number of vendors signed up. It is a little bit lighter than in years past, and I'm not sure if that's a result of the pandemic or what, but we do have a little bit lighter number of food vendors. I think that some food trucks just didn't survive the pandemic. But that said, it's going to be a great event. Really looking forward to it. And I think the community is as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Do you have a chance, or what was your outcome on collecting the food meals tax from those vendors earlier and make sure it's right?
So I'm not aware that we've ever had any issues with meals tax from past harvest festivals. Typically, the way that our process is to include a meals tax sheet that's updated, that I update each year. I run it by our town treasurer, make sure that percentages and dates as required by law are correct. That meals tax form gets put into the vendor packet with the food vendors check-in pass, and it has a comprehensive instruction on how to fill that out and when it's due, by when it's due. We haven't had, at least as far as my knowledge, any delinquent food vendors in my experience. But our policy is that if anyone does not pay the meals tax, they're not welcome back to the Harvest Festival.
Main concern is more the accuracy of it, that they're reporting everything, because, a lot of times cash does not get reported.
That's correct, and it's a valid concern, and I'm not sure that I have a great solution for it. We do base it on the honor system.
Discussed, I guess, last year about maybe going through halfway through the event and somebody taking a clipboard and making notes of where they were at or something, but okay, thank you.
That we would still be doing that on an honor system as well. Sure. Any other questions?
Joelle, so you did stay below the budget. Have you gotten allocations for what you need yet, or I guess we're
I
voting
believe
on that
that's on the
tonight?
agenda tonight
Okay.
for you all.
Okay, great. And you added this second piece here, and you are under budget, right, for what, by $2,000?
To date, just under $2,000, $1,941 and some change under budget. I don't anticipate spending that full amount, but it's there in case we do need it. There is a line item there for miscellaneous, and usually that's not a large expense, but it takes care of things like duct tape if you need it, or a fishing line the day of that you have to get from Mike's Outdoor Shop, or
Great.
just random things like that. If we need more chalk for the sidewalks, or Sharpies, so there is a line item there. But
Okay,
in the
great.
Facebook ads is also an estimate. So,
Good work.
but
Thank you.
I have
Yeah.
confidence that we will come in under budget this year.
Security line, is that the county and our local
Yes, ma'am.
chief? Chief's
Yes.
salary is in that, or our local chief? Our local?
No, ma'am. Our police department's not paid special for this event.
But he works it. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Joel.
Thank you all very much.
All right, next up, we have town clerk, treasurer, monthly report for August and September. Anybody have any questions or concerns? And do you have anything to say?
No, everything's going along nicely. I have contacted the auditor. He should be visiting us next month. And I think you should have received your email with the draft. Did everyone get that? And if anybody wants a hard copy, I of course can print that off for you, but I mean, everything looks like it's on
Now,
schedule.
that's the audit for 2020.
FY20.
Okay. How are we looking on that? I mean, just at a glance, what do you think? Looking all right with it?
It's nothing really jumped out at.
Okay, all right,
It
good.
looks like everything's,
I wouldn't think it would be, but,
yeah, looks like it's on track.
all right. Anybody got any questions for Tracy?
I'd just like to take an opportunity to thank both the ladies for extending their time and working late at night. I see you still here and the lights on and getting the packets out and everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you, we appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Tracy, I'm sorry. Moving to the town manager's report for August and September. Gene, you still with us?
I'm right here.
Okay.
I'm on the stage.
Any,
I've been working with the Planning Commission on the village self-storage site plan, and the public hearing for the rezoning on Route 301 called Fairmont is scheduled for this month, October 18th. So I've been working with them with doing the details of that and preparing for that public hearing. Also on the Keystone software, as you heard during the work session, review of the ARPA funds. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
now, I sat in on a ARCA Fund webinar the other day, and there is still so much money out there left to get, but it has to be COVID related. Is there anything else that this town or that can go after down the road? I mean, like I said, they've got millions of dollars that just, and people aren't applying for it. It's just, they are just trying, like for housing. I know we got a couple housing projects coming up.
I have looked at that. There are some more utility relief funds that we're applying for.
Okay.
And I was reviewing the ARPA funds or additional funds today to see if there's anything else that the town can apply for. I haven't. I continue the review and I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. Thank you. I was just amazed
Yes.
of what's out there.
Mhm.
Anybody have any questions for the town manager? Hearing none. Thank you,
Thank you.
Allison. All right, Allison, do you have the corrected minutes for the consent agenda for the minutes? So maybe we can go over those and then we can just vote on the whole thing. We talking August or September? Oh, the only one set. You're right.
Second page, consent agenda, or page 61. A request was made by Councilmember Boyd. Item number 6, delete and 7. A request was made by Councilmember Voigt to pull from the consent agenda item number 6, delete and 7, add. A request was made by Councilmember Davis to pull from the consent agenda item number 7.
Also delete 7 off of his and add Gene, added number 7 to, okay.
Correct. And then on page 63, report of council committees member comments. Under Councilmember Voigt, discussion in the Utility Street Sidewalks Building and Grounds Committee included coronavirus relief funds. Delete the remainder of the sentence.
Okay. All right. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. With those being made, now we can move on to a motion to accept the consent agendas as they are. Do I hear a motion for that?
So moved.
I have a motion by Jeff to, and a second. Second by Arthur. Do a roll call vote. Arthur? Jerry? Deborah? Valerie?
Aye.
Tammy?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Gene?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Consent agendas are done. Unfinished business, moving on. Bowling Green 2021 Harvest Festival appropriation of funds. You would like to make a motion on that? All right, make a
To make a
motion.
motion on that. I would like to move that we allocate the $23,500, but at the same time, use the $6,000 that were already allocated from the wine festival to fund that partially, and revisit that after the reports come from the Harvest Festival.
Okay. Do I have a second on that?
I
I'll
second.
se-
A second, Arthur? Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand. Jean?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. So we got 6,000 coming from the wine festival, and then the remaining, what's that, 18? Do my math, that's
It's
23,
17?
17. All right, so we're allocating 17 and we're pulling 6 from the wine festival. Okay,
That'll keep us above 500,000 in our general fund.
okay. All right, thank you, sir. Moving on to new business. Town hall rental rates. This is presented by Allison. We have a meeting was held, a council meeting, Tammy Gaines and staff review current rental rates for town hall. Discussion involved issues in covering expenses of the building, including internal and external building maintenance, utilities, police protection, setup, and cleaning. A draft document was presented that outlines suggested new rates.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Councilmember Gaines met with staff and and out of that meeting came what you see on page 96. This preliminary amount to increase the rates for rental in town hall was then reviewed by both subcommittees. And the second page, 97, there's some suggestions that came out of those meetings. So there's two proposals. What I'm asking tonight is for council to decide if they see that they would like to on these rates increases, so that I can advertise for a public hearing to increase the fee schedule, increase the fee for the rental rates. If you'd like me to go over them individually, I'd be happy to.
Allison, the rates are the same. You're saying they're just different. Is that right? I mean, I don't know. It looks like it
Sure.
is. Okay.
Yeah.
So just voting on the rates and then because I had some questions about like nonprofit.
Mhm.
I mean, in earlier, on the other side, it looked like they were mentioning like Tinseltown as a nonprofit. I don't think they really are. But I guess those are the little things that I think we just need to flesh out a little bit. I'm good with the rates. I definitely think you need to move forward with that. So I didn't know what the plans were to look at that again, or.
I need to know exact numbers so that prior to advertising for
Yeah.
this. So this is,
I think the exemptions are the things that I question and,
okay.
but
So-
the numbers are good. So if you want to vote on numbers, that's fine.
Were you referring to page 96 or page 97? There's two sets. So
Yeah.
the preliminary numbers were a bit higher. For example, the first line that you see in black, USO Ballroom 1 day, is presently $575 total rental. There is no cost for the cleaning fee. That is paid by the town, the cleaning and setup and takedown. So the proposed rate was to increase to $1,000 and then add the cleaning fee for the proposed total of $1,275 for the ballroom for 1 day.
So that fee doesn't include the $480 for actual costs that's in that little box? So that's additional to the proposed total?
If I may, Allison, can I clarify some of this?
Absolutely, thank you.
the little box, the actual cost, $755, is a breakdown of, if say, if you had a 100-person wedding, that includes your cleaning, their staff time to show it and set up. That would include chair rental, because anywhere else you go, you have to rent chairs. Table rental, same thing. So the cost, our actual cost is $755.
Right, I see that. It says $275 cleaning fee, but it doesn't say the rest. So in addition to $1275 for 100 people at an 8-foot table, that's 8 people at a table, maybe 6. They need maybe 10 tables, that's an extra 1,000. So that's $2275.
Yeah,
Or,
table
or you,
rental, like
are you
each that we
calling this a setup
no.
charge instead of
No,
chair rental? And because
no.
with all due respect, that sounds like you're nickel and
The box is an
diming people.
actual cost what to go by. That's how much it cost us. So
You
the
co-
$1275. So you
I'm
you'd
just
profit
confused.
what, $500 roughly?
Plus your 275.
The
Because you're
amounts,
charging
the
for
amounts
that.
in the box are not what is going to be charged.
Oh, you're talking about
That
on
is what
page,
it
on page
cost us.
97.
97 is what
Okay,
it cost us, the box, actual cost.
That is pointing out the actual cost of doing these particular items like the chair rental and table
Oh,
rental.
I see what you're
but
saying.
it's
Okay, I
not-
just,
yeah.
I've
It
never
doesn't
rented.
include electric and all that stuff.
So I just assumed it was a setup
But-
charge.
So in other
No,
words,
no.
You're not
775.
doing a setup charge at all then.
And then your proposed rate's 950.
Correct.
So that's a couple $100 you're making.
So the page on the left is really broken down a whole lot. And after I went home and I looked over it and I thought, maybe we shouldn't go up quite that much right now. We should gradually go up. And I just simplified it on the right side instead of breaking out the cleaning charge and all that stuff to it.
Is there no weekend rates or daily rates?
No,
So if you have a wedding on Tuesday, you're going to pay the same amount of money that you paid on Saturday?
What are we charging now for the ballroom?
575.
And that
That's the current rate?
Yeah, and that doesn't include cleaning either. That's, I
But
mean, that
so the
includes
one,
your cleaning.
well, let me ask you, so on page 97, the 575, that's the proposed rate, the same? Oh, I see the proposed rate is
No,
950.
post
Okay.
is in red.
Okay, I got you. It's sorry, I'm just,
So
Yeah,
how
see-
come there isn't a weekend rate or daily rate? If someone wants to just rent the room for the day for 3 hours?
because the rate is already so low, I don't think it behooves us to have it any less.
3 hours.
I have a
I'm not talking
question.
about
Do we
ordering
not
it. I'm
own
talking about
any
making
chairs? Do
volume
they
for the
always have
weekend.
to rent chairs when
The weekend.
the hall is rented?
No, they don't rent the chairs, Jean. I'm just taking like
it's an
an
option.
average venue or somewhere that you go out to and you rent that
Okay.
place for a wedding.
And personally, I'm not for town residents and employees being any cheaper than anybody else. Everybody makes a salary, and I think we're not in this for giveaway. I think everybody should pay the same.
My question in this is, are we going to mandate that we hire the cleaning is, I guess my point
We
on
need
the
to get past the
cleaning, I'm
cleaning.
a little concerned, is cleaning an option?
No, it's not.
No.
Okay,
No.
good, because that needs, I don't, it's hard to tell. in
It should be
this, so-
built in.
Yeah, I agree.
It's on
It
your
is.
contract.
And
I
see,
That's
see
it is on the
and see-
second page, 97. It's
Yeah, I
built
see
into
it
the
270.
950.
Spelled out. That's
Yeah,
why
I
it's
see it for
confusing.
275. So you're renting the ballroom at 950 and you know you've got cleaning, that's not an option. So you're going to add another 275, is that right?
No,
That's the way it is over on the first page. See, right now, you
Well,
rent
the
it-
first page you
wait a minute.
okay,
Right now, you rent the ballroom at $575. okay?
currently.
All right. Then the town has to turn around and pay $275 to clean it. So we don't get anything off of it. The first page is saying, okay, let's rent the ballroom at $1,000. Let's charge the cleaning fee of $275. So they're paying for the cleaning fee. So our proposal is $1,275, and we're making the $1,000, and the cleaning lady is getting her money. It's not coming out of taxpayers' money. But right now, taxpayers are paying to clean it unless we just deduct it from the 575, then we don't make anything.
So really
don't-
1220, well,
That's just one of
1225
the
is the
proposals.
proposed with cleaning.
The ones on the right-hand side is one that Tammy said that she thought about, maybe the first page was too high, let's drop it down some and then do it. But, you know, you can do either one of them.
On the second page, the
Everything is
actual
covered.
costs in black at the top are not going to be charged. Those are just
I
for
understand.
information
very
only.
confusing.
But I
Right.
feel like
On-
the
on
cleaning
the-
is, so that,
Yeah.
right?
So on the,
Yes, the cleaning is correct.
for the 1 day, on the second page, the USO Ballroom, 1 day, it shows you again, it's right now, it's $575. The proposed rate and total is $950 in red. That it equates to the first page. These are two possibilities, either 1275 or 950.
Right.
Those are two suggestions.
And you're saying both of those include the cleaning, though?
They both
Yes.
include the cleaning.
Yes.
That's what I was confused about.
And basically all we're doing tonight is just voting on and voting it for a public hearing, right?
That's correct.
Correct.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to get some of the numbers at a certain point, because like with many things, I assume, we can't go down, we can't go up in the numbers
Right.
once we
Can't
publish the
go-
public hearing.
You
My s-
can't go either way.
Can't go either way.
It has
this
to
one,
be,
okay.
the number advertised has to be
The number.
the
The
number.
number on this.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a bit high to take it from 575 to 1275.
But that's-
575 to 950. We're still profiting $195 after we pay clean and the staff and
That's
and
not
even
enough.
though we own
Yeah,
the chairs and
really.
tables,
That's
you know.
too cheap, actually. I feel like the 950 is reasonable, and then add your cleaning. That's
Then
the
add the
least.
cleaning.
Well, I didn't want to
Cleaning should
break
be
it out that
broken.
way because then you have people come in and say, "Oh, well, I'll clean it."
Yeah, we don't
But-
want that.
No.
We
So
can't
I would
have
say
that.
the
It's not an
1225 with the cleaning, but I think that needs to be made clear before we do any votes.
Yeah, how about we
It's
just,
How about
too
we
much.
put that in the contract?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tammy, thank you so much for doing all this. So I just have questions. Local nonprofit, what does that mean, local nonprofit? Is that like a 10-mile radius, 50, 100? And what if they're a private corporation that's doing a fundraising? I don't understand what local nonprofit means.
C 105, C
Well,
Well,
it's,
501s.
I know what a
Sorry.
501c3 is, but why local? Are you telling me that if the nonprofit comes from Hanover, it's not local? So where are those rates, and why would you want to do that? I guess I just don't get the nonprofit rate of $350. For me, it's everybody pays. You pay your $950. You're a nonprofit. Give them a discount. Negotiate it. Here's my 501c3, because I'm assuming everyone who is a nonprofit who rents this hall gives you their 501c3 and or tax exempt federal ID number to get that, because nobody asked us for it. So I just don't know what local means, because on the other, it says for-profit fundraising event, it's not applicable. I don't know what that
Well,
Could I
I-
take that for just a minute?
I'm very confused, and I
Yeah,
apologize.
well, having both proposals in here is slightly confusing. But remember, and Tammy did explain, that the page on the left was like a first draft. And then page 97 here, think of it as a second draft. It's a lot cleaner, simplified. It is easier to read, but we keep cross-referencing with the page before, but they're not meant to be taken that way. I think what we should do is just go line by line on this and have our little discussion to get each one of these set. So starting at the top with just the rental of in here, with that whole 950, for every single one of these, reference at the actual costs. And the idea of the actual cost is not to have people come in and say, "Oh, I'll clean it myself." No, that's the actual costs. So we know them. That's factored into the following things. So with the ballroom, is everyone all right with that 950? And then we can move on to the next sets. But let's get that base rate kind of agreed on first.
I'm not.
I got a question, like, we've got multiple figures for cleaning. So is it 275 or is it 150? I show 150.
That's
Well, the
just for
front room
the
is
front.
different if they just rent the front town
Okay.
hall room.
Understood.
And then this room is different, the kitchen is different, it depends. So
Okay.
that's why it's broken down at the bottom.
Got
And I'm not with the price because we were paying $575 now. I understand going up at $950, you're saying it includes the cleaning. The cleaning, we still have to pay, and we paid that before, correct?
Yes.
So we haven't gained a thing.
And I just think there needs to be a weekend rate as opposed to
We're
during
gonna
the
go
week.
up. We
That's
need
the
to go
standard
up.
in
And
Well,
I
we
industry.
know
could
what
make it
venues
very
cost.
complicated. We could do weekend rates, we could do weddings, we could do this. We were just trying to simplify it. As far
Yeah.
as the local nonprofit, that's just how it was listed on the other chart that we took it off of. I don't think it particularly means local as in
that's-
Caroline.
don't-
I'm not sure.
I don't think we want Hanover or somebody from down that way coming up here and say, oh, they're cheaper up there. Let's, I mean,
I'd say
local
round up there.
nonprofits, schools, fire
Caroline.
departments, churches, this is a community hall. It's not a two or
It
three
is for the
county.
community. That's what I was trying to keep the
Yeah.
rates a little bit lower because it is the community's
It's
building.
community
It is
hall.
Caroline's building. It's for the people here.
But if a nonprofit comes from outside the county, I mean, 350
Oh,
is,
We'll get to nonprofit in a second. I think we
Sorry, I
really need to set
apologize.
our base
Sorry.
rate first. So some people want to go higher. Who wants to go lower? Anybody
I
wanna-
just want to raise it some. I feel like
well,
keeping it
five-
950 with cleaning isn't raising it at all.
Are you
So-
thinking that it's 575 plus cleaning now?
That's what it's looking like.
It is.
It is.
is.
That's
It is.
correct, yeah.
So,
Okay, so
yeah.
yeah, that's not much of an increase.
So
then
you
at
want to
that
go with
point.
950 and add the 275?
it's 575 and the 275 cleaning is paid by the town for every event. So 575 is the.
Okay, so that is what I thought.
So
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 we're in
Total.
the, yes.
so we're making less than 575 per event here, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And so if we were to increase it to 950, that does cover some of that shortfall.
We make a 195.
195. Okay.
Yes.
And actually, we make a little bit more because our chairs and tables are, paid for, but in case we have to replace
Yeah,
them, you
it's
still
good
want to
to-
include that
But
in a
if you don't-
cost.
If you don't like the 950 by itself, you're always more welcome to do
I'm just saying,
950
this
and
is
the cleaning
somewhere to
fee.
start. We
It's-
didn't want to
Yeah.
shock.
I think we should have a flat rate. I don't think we should have it itemized where you're paying this for the room and you're paying this for cleaning. Let's just give them a flat rate. We
Well,
don't
we
need to be
can-
making lots of money on this, but we
No.
definitely don't need to be losing money either.
Right.
I could go to
Well,
the
it
flat
is-
1,000 easily enough, but
It is a line item on the revenue. Is that not correct, Allison? The rental fees, is that not a
It is.
Should be.
It is.
income line item? Okay, then, so we're using it to make money, to show money. So we either want to make it or we just want to barely make it.
Well,
mean,
I
that's-
guess I'm looking at
I'm
the
just saying,
future.
it is a line item for revenue.
I'm looking at what the possibilities of this building can be in the future. We talk about upgrading the IT in here, and this is hard enough one time for us to discuss and try to come up with. I feel like we have devalued what we already have. And I am well aware of what other event places look like, whether it's for a wedding or whether it's for, and even looking back on what we use this place for. We have upkeep that is still due for this building, and I think we need to think about that going forward. And I think upping it $400 or so for a person or whatever is not a big deal. I mean, if they're going to do something that's worthy of this place, they're going to put that money out. They seem to find it for everything. And I have something else that I want you all to think about. A curator, a friend of mine who's a retired curator for the Smithsonian that has worked with the Historical Society, we were talking about making how we can let the front upgrade that a little bit and put memorabilia out, like of what this place really was. Bring out the historical value, the ASO building, and work with some of the stuff that they have for AP Hill. Just a thought. I'm willing to help with that or do that. So keep that in mind. I think we have a real gem here. And I think just to up this a little bit is going to just make it better, because we're going to get a better, you put out there, you have a treasure. It raises the bar for what we expect to come in here too. And that's not a bad thing. This is not a free service we're offering the community. Even if you belong I build my house in a place that has a HOA and they have a community club building, most of the time you're going to pay to use that. So I feel like that's what we need to consider. And I think we need to go with, you know, I averaged the 950 with the 275. That comes to, I think, $1,225. I don't think that's too bad with the cleaning included. And then anything else, they can come up with it.
Well, what would you think if, because I think the max that I would want to go is doubling the current price. That'd be $1,150.
Okay? I'm good with that.
I don't really want to go, you know, too much further than that because that's double's going to be hard to swallow for a lot of folks.
Go ahead, Jerry.
I understand we need to make more money, but you don't want to price it where you're going to put yourself out of business, because I want to know how often is the building actually rented for the current rate? And if you're going to double the price, you may have more people walk away from it that can't afford to rent it.
Mhm.
Well, let me, I'll answer that for you. It's rented out quite frequent, but look at it this way. You have up to 100, let's say 100 weddings, okay? You may only have 50 venues in the area, right? Somebody's going to rent it. I mean, it's not going to not stay rented. One venue cannot accommodate everybody. 10 venues cannot accommodate everybody. But if you want to stay in competition with them, then you're looking at $3,000. If you want to get people here and give them a good time and make money, you know, you need to up it from what you are. 'Cause right now you're just giving it away.
Yeah, there's
You
a lot
know,
of competition
and
for
then
this room.
also,
Also, I don't know, what is the fire
But you
code
need-
in here? How many people can you have? Arthur, do you know?
Building inspector.
Three.
posted.
Yeah, you try finding a place where you can bring 300 people.
you're not
You're
going to get it
not.
for that price. I'm sorry. You're
Well,
not going to get it for
Mark,
that price.
With all due
And that's what
respect,
we're looking
you're-
at here.
You are agreeing with Deborah.
Yes.
The fact is, we're not renting a room. We want to rent a venue, a
Right.
historic place that, for me, there should be a plaque outside the front of the building
should.
and say, we're on the historic register.
want to bring that.
There's nothing here that says this building is historic. Nobody know, even when you
You're right.
walk in it.
I
You're selling a room. You need
That's
to
right.
sell the venue. And just by, you know, all of the chairs, the table rental, that's amenities. That always comes with your rental fee. So if I rent someplace, a venue for $3,000, the chairs, the parking, you
Yes.
know, all of that is an amenity and it's included. It's understood cleaning as well, but that's all in your contract. So the contract itself for this place needs to be redone because that's missing vital information. So after all this is done, we need to translate it into contractual form. And I suspect, I'm not sure if
And-
Ms.
Yeah.
Arad is,
And you're correct.
I don't want to say you're going to do it, so I'm just,
Yeah. No, you're correct. And it needs to be,
but
whatever we
I'm
decide
all
here
for the 1150. then.
needs to go in
Me
the
too.
contract and state, you know, this is what they pay and
You
this is
can't
what it
nickel and dime
covers,
people.
whatever. But here's something that I had been questioning since I've been involved in with the town here is why is the town hall rental being used as a source of income when we weren't making that much? So why wasn't the money that was being generated from the rental of this place put back into the general fund for the building to keep the improvements of the building up, to keep the building up, to keep it into shape? You know, right now it's a line item in revenue. So now we have to go in there and take the money and appropriate the money to what we want it to do. Am I not right? I mean, you know, it could go into a separate fund, a building fund that is then used to keep the building up.
You're right
Yeah,
that that's
you
how
take care of that.
Windows, heating and air, floor, all that.
it was. It's been done the way you're saying. But I do remember before I was up here twice when I was sitting in meetings, it was assessed and that money taken for improvements for this building. But yeah, it could be like its own section. I could certainly be for that. Okay, yeah, next. Okay, so let's just go with the 1150 for the moment. What that's going to bring us to, trying to clean up the language here. So we have 3 other options to talk about, and that is the discount rates for certain other entities. We need to see if we even want to do it and what that amount would be. We have these proposed numbers here, but it's all floating. So the ideas are nonprofits, town residents / employees, and weekday rates. Those are 3 separate areas that you could say, oh, these get a discount, 10% off or something like that. They don't even necessarily have to be itemized the way that this page is. You could have your flat rate, and you could be like, oh, you're a nonprofit, you get 15% off. Oh, you're doing the day, okay, it's 25% off during the week. Or you could itemize them, whatever. But it's up to you guys. Just opening that part up. So let's talk about nonprofits. And you probably don't want to just have local nonprofit, because you could have a local nonprofit. You could have Leashes of Valor down the street, but you could also have what's something federal, Susan Komen, something like that. Something federal level could come in. I don't think you'd necessarily want to charge them differently, but nonprofit.
If I can speak on that, I'm just looking at the numbers from page 45 and 46, and we made 1,300 in, 1,430 in 2 months. So that's less than $1,500 in 2 months. So exactly how much use is here? I think we need to figure that out first and see what the clientele is, and then base that off. Because if we're only getting $7,000 a year in revenue, and we double the prices, you may get 0, like Jerry was saying. I'm just thinking that way, unless we got numbers to look and research. And then none of the stuff that's going on right now, without asking further questions, adds up to any consistency. Like, I see 136 classes, but the previous month it was 7 at 300. I mean, I'd have to dig and get some information, but then there's different rates types and standardizing it. But I don't want to, like Jerry said, push all the clientele off if we're only getting 15 rentals a year. I mean, I don't know.
Arthur, I'll tell you, I feel like Joelsa could really help us with this too. We don't even advertise this. Think about if we did. Think about if we updated. Think about if we had someone who would put out there in that front corridor and really market this building for an event center like it should be. We have history here. And that's one of the things when we look at branding this town and looking at this town that I think we all need to open our minds to and embracing the history. This building, for years, I'd walked in here and didn't know what it was. We could market this, and I guarantee you it will rent. I guarantee you. We just got to put it out there and put it out the right way. And now that we have a little extra money in the bank with this, all this funding that's been blown in here, yeah, we need to update first the IT, the security, and start looking at the facade of this building and, making sure, I mean, I think it's got strong bones, and bring in the history. We'll have no problem renting it. But I agree, we got to clean all this up. It's way too crazy.
I got a quick question. All right, so with the current 575 line item in there, because we pay for the cleaning ourselves, I can't remember how that's reflected in the report. So do we have like one section where we're making 575 and then that looks artificially high because it's way somewhere else where that 275 is paid? Or is that 275 subtracted from the 575 and we're really just making 300 when it's reported to us?
The 275 is subtracted from the 575 and you're really just making.
Okay, so we see it that way, the true way, we see it the true way?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's check it.
You're making 300.
I just didn't want there to be some sort of illusion if we weren't paying attention.
All right, so where are we going?
Guys,
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead,
you
Jean.
all really don't have everything up there for the actual cost. How about the heating and air conditioning? Is that free? It's not at my house.
No, ma'am, you're right.
It
It's
isn't,
not.
Jean. You're exactly right.
I said that, Jean, yeah, that doesn't include the utilities or anything like that.
So yeah, I mean, that's it's,
I just assumed all of that was already built into these rates. That's the norm.
But that's
You
what
just-
we're fixing. Yeah.
You build them
we're trying to
into
fix
the
that.
rate. You
Right.
don't want people to, I mean, we can't look like you're nickel and diming people. I mean, that's just, we want people to come from out of the county here to think that we're just going to get a couple of people here because they're from in the county, so we only get your yoga people to answer your question. That's where the $300 is. So our yoga people. We want people from outside the county to come. They're the ones that need to rent the building. Here within the county, over the last several years, how many people inside this county? There's only 32 nonprofits in this county. And 5 of them on that form aren't even in business anymore. So I just, for $350, the American Red Cross is a nonprofit. If they came here and said, let's rent the building, and I'm $350, the American Red Cross, I'd say, give me $3,050.
So is everybody in agreement with removing local from local nonprofit and allowing all nonprofits inside and outside the county?
I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it should all be lumped sum together.
All right. So we'll remove the word local.
Okay, but
and-
we are going to give them a discount. Are we going to discount that rate? I mean, we could.
that's,
If you
I
don't like the
think it should be
350,
250. I
well,
think it's
well,
because they make
250 's
money too. Nonprofits, dude. Believe me, I work.
Oh,
for
yeah,
one.
no.
250 is the old rate. They're wanting to do 350. And
But
that,
maybe like 25% off. I don't know.
Oh, God, give them,
Or give 'em, like, free
negotiate,
chair,
let them
table, they can
negotiate
have-
with
Yeah.
you.
You could do 25.
15% off $950.
15 is
Well-
pretty normal.
yeah.
That's the norm.
And you
It
could
is.
include with them like free
I'd be
chairs
fine
and
with
tables if they need it. I mean, oh, we're gonna include all that.
Allison, when you advertise, do you have to advertise the old rates versus the new rates?
I will just advertise the new rates.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so y'all want to do a 950 minus 15%?
Are we going back to 950 for the
No,
base
we're
rate?
not. We're doing the 1150. I thought.
I'm sorry, I meant 11. No, okay, we back over here on, okay, 1150, you're right. I was looking at the wrong number.
So
All right,
far, we
so
have 1150.
minus 15, and that still includes the 275
Mm-hmm.
extra?
No, that's just,
That's
we're all
included
talking
with that,
flat rate
okay,
here.
All right,
Can
off
get
to
off the
1150,
275.
1150, okay.
Now, can I say this? If people want an exemption and they,
All right,
it's
let's move
certainly
on to the
always
next
okay
one.
for them to come before us and ask. I mean, I don't want to
Yeah, we
discourage
get that
right?
now.
Isn't that correct, people?
So the way that could work is that if a local nonprofit wanted some contribution by the town, you can make a donation to that nonprofit as long as it's one in the community, as opposed to necessarily just giving
Outside.
various discounts.
That's good.
So I have a question then. So if we have a rate here and someone comes into town hall, is there no negotiating available?
There's no negotiating because really that's something the town council should decide to direct staff and to have an actual number.
Gotcha.
It would be, yes.
All I've ever seen is people come in asking for it for free.
Yeah. So let me ask y'all something. Where does like our fire department fall into place, or our teachers, if they school wants to? How do you all feel about that? I mean,
Those are ones that come in and ask for it for free usually.
Well, we can't do that anymore.
I know, and I get that. I mean, that's why I'm saying maybe we need to differentiate what. I mean, there needs
I
to
don't
be
think so.
some.
What they normally
Nonprofit's a
do is
nonprofit.
they will come to council and ask council to give them a better rate than what we have advertised, which we have had them in the past do. You know, they come in and
But
say,
didn't
council,
Andrea just
can
say we
you?
have to give? Andrea, didn't you just speak to that?
Mm-hmm.
They can't. It's not going to work that way.
Wouldn't. I think
Isn't that what you
she
heard?
just said is that the town would have to give a donation to the
Correct.
nonprofit,
Right.
which,
Which in the past we've never done.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
we would
have.
have to actually fork out money and say, hey,
Well, like if you have one rate, okay, and they come and they say, we want to rent it for this cause and, we'd like for you to drop the price $500. The answer would be no, but then council could make a $500 donation to them as long as it's in the community.
Donation being a reduction in the rate that they don't have to pay out, they keep in their pocket. Okay.
And the donations is tax exempt to the town.
So the donation's
Even though
really
it's a
on
miserable
paper,
$500.
right? The no donation's really just a statement on paper.
It's just,
It's an
Okay.
actual donation. They would actually pay the full amount. It's like a rebate,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, rebate. Good example. Well, let's keep going. Let's the next one of those three different classes, you got your in-town residents and employees. Is anybody interested in having a discount for that?
You're a town, you live in the town, pay town taxes, and employees, we should give them, yes. That was because this building was built for the town people.
no, it wasn't.
No?
Yeah, kind of the
USO
army at the time. But
This was built for the soldiers. They came from all over the country, all over the world. The USO building. It's now a community building, but if we make it just for the community, then just say people from the outside don't come and rent because it's only a community building? I'm sorry, I just have a problem.
I think I just look at it as it's a building that's more, we're looking to preserve. I don't kind of look at it being, I do feel like it's inclusive to everyone. And I feel like we need to present it in a way that everybody's a part of the preservation here. And I think we have to move away from the mindset that this is an entitlement, because it's really not.
It's been an entitlement. That's why we've never
Yeah,
rented it.
Yeah, that's my
That's
perspective.
why,
well, true to some extent. If you want free, you can go over to the playground. But it's the building does need to self-sustain the best that it can. Okay, not hearing a whole lot of wanting for the in-town. But then lastly was
I don't think it needs to be. I think it needs to be to keep things simple too. It's better because just make it. I think my struggle is still with just the nonprofit. If I put certain, I don't know how we. That's my issue.
Okay, well, there was the third, the weekday rate. So you could,
Like 25% off or 15% off, whatever. I think
I
that's a
mean,
good
you
idea.
you could stay
That's a
standard
great
with
idea.
15% being what you want to go to. That,
Yes.
and that's fine. I do think that because it doesn't exactly get utilized on the week, so being cheaper on the week makes sense.
It's a good idea.
Tracy, does it ever get rented on the week? Okay. Okay. That's another, yeah.
And I am 100% with
And
that.
afterwards, right?
But they still had to be cleaned afterwards, right? Yeah.
Well, I think we should be standardizing that cleaning.
Yeah.
though.
And with the pandemic too, it's a little more involved. I mean, it should be. So just putting that out there.
So what are you looking at? The weekday rate was what, 25% off is what you said? What did somebody say?
Well, okay. So if we were to go with the 1150, the 15% off is going to work out to 977.50.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely go lower than that for the weekday if other people are in that kind of mood.
You want to do 20 or 25 off then?
Let me see
For
what
what?
25
I mean,
off
that's up to
is.
y'all, but
Minus 25.
We got to move on with this because
Yeah,
What's
I'm trying.
20%?
I'm trying.
we're dragging it out a lot. Let's, I mean, we're
20
having discussions. That's good.
25 would be
I'm not trying to say that.
862.
why don't we just have a work session?
Yeah, this could take us all night. This is a lot. We have a lot of things. This is like small. Yeah, I agree. either the committee needs to go back, add people to your committee, or let's do a work session because this is taking way too much time of what we have here planned.
Would anybody, could we skip ahead to number 15 and maybe do both of these items at that said
Just
work
go with
session?
the 11:50 and let's flesh out the rest later.
Can everybody just look over it and shoot me an email and I compile it?
Well, what do y'all want to do? What's y'all's pleasure? You want to move on with this? We'll put it aside, have a work session. You want to,
Why don't we just table it for a work session then? If
Yeah, I'd say we just
Sure.
add it to the work session of item
Uh,
15.
Andrea?
Yep.
All I gotta do, what, we just table it or what?
You think
Just move on?
ask that it be put on the work session agenda.
Okay, all right. Got that, Allison?
Yes.
All right. Next, allocation of funds for the Keystone software, number 14. This is a biggie.
I just got a question. I'm sorry because I've seconded the consent agenda, but number 11 was actually a purchase. That was supposed to be under consent agenda and not under new business. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Sorry.
That item was that item was already budgeted. The budget was approved, but because the subcommittee decided $5,000 or over, to take to
That's
council, it's on your agenda.
all right, folks. Y'all, we had a work session today on this. I guess we just need to figure out, do we like this? Do we not like it? We got the funds for it.
Mr. Mayor, I can make a motion and we can go into discussion if you like.
Make a motion, okay? I got a but what's the motion for, sir?
I will go with the higher. I'll go with the allocation of the, looking here.
You want to take it up higher than what
No,
it is?
the original proposed, the one that includes the KeyNet software stuff.
167?
Yeah, the $167,477. Move to allocate those funds for the getting the Keystone software.
All right, I have a motion on the floor that we accept the Keystone software cost proposal for the value of 167,477.
Mr. Mayor, may
I think, go ahead.
may I get clarification? It is to be taken out of ARPA funds?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
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 And if you go higher, then we already have the money allocated for it. That we don't have to spend. If we have to go more modules, we got to come back.
Yes, but this would be
So-
making a motion to get this version in this proposal, so it would be defining those extra modules. But we could get even more modules, but we wouldn't make a vote for this motion, would not be applicable to the other proposal. So you would just vote no to this if we decided the other way. I was
Okay.
trying to get us to discussion.
Okay. All right. I have a motion on the floor to accept this for 167,477. The funds coming out of ARCA. Do I have a second on that?
I had seconded it.
I got a second by Arthur. Time for discussion?
If we, allocate the 167,477, then we could most definitely go with the second proposal, which is cheaper. It's just allocate the funds. Are you saying that the 167 has to be just for this proposal and we can't use the second proposal?
Well,
for
let me
cheaper?
clarify that. If I'm making a motion to accept this proposal with this allocation, we can't then accept the other proposal, can we? Okay.
That's what I was saying. If we just go with a blanket amount, then we can use it however we wish.
Well, I think
Right? Is that not right?
the cheaper proposal was the better.
Okay,
of the
that's what I was saying. If you take it up, I mean, we have the motion on the floor, but if we had done it differently to where we get money to this program, then now that leaves it open. Now we need to, and then we can go with the higher or the lesser or anything in between, or up to 200,000. Correct? Don't look at me that blank look. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, but
Okay.
don't you think it would be good to decide what you're going to buy?
Yes.
It's not clear right now, to be honest with you. I don't think, I mean, I saw the nuts and bolts of it, but there could be some add-ons, it looks like. Is that right, Andrea? I mean, not Andrea, sorry,
That's
Allison.
correct.
Yes.
Sorry. So we don't really have a firm price. I mean, I think
Okay, all
my
right.
idea going
So-
with that was that it was, I agree with Jeff, it's a higher amount, but it does give us some, it's going to be at least that.
Mm-hmm. To go up to what, 200,000?
To provide a not to exceed amount.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And
So can we adjust the
Yeah,
motion?
I'd like to amend my motion to allocate from the ARP funds for the purchase of the software with an allocation amount not to exceed the 167,477.
No, the
No,
200.
200. Oh, okay, all right. Not to exceed $200,000.
And then we can purchase what we need, software that we need, correct? And okay,
Okay,
do I
will-
have
will
a
this go-
second again, Arthur?
yeah, I'll second
Okay,
that.
all right,
I
you
don't
got
think
that,
we need
Allison?
high of amount, but I'll
Okay.
second that.
It
All
is
right,
gonna
okay,
be-
now let's go for discussions.
I'm good with the 200 simply because we don't know if we need system modifications or interfaces, which Mr. Judson
Yes. Well, that
Judd
was his first name.
said is possibly additional. So we don't know that yet. If there is additional for training, et cetera, we don't know at $100 an hour the exact amount for that either. So it just gives us a leeway. I am good with this.
The one concern that I would have is if the vendor itself comes back with any change orders for additional funds, like request of additional funds because they're over the allocated hours specified in the contract. So this proposal is strict to their hours of each block. So if they go over that, they're going to start billing us. And I know we got to have a buffer in there, but at the same time, we don't want it to get out of control either. We don't want to say, hey, we were thinking 150 and we are at the 200 now with everything. I mean, we got to account for the data extract also coming out of our system and getting it over, which is going to be a fee that we don't know. It could be 5,000, it could be 15,000.
That is all the more reason that we probably should be expedient about this so that we can co-op some of the training hours with county so that we save some in those
Correct.
respects. Because the more that we wait, unfortunately, the more it's going to cost. I hate being up against that wall, but
Yeah, I
that's kind of
think
where we are.
We're at a spot where we have to make a move
Right.
for the inner workings of the.
And I would
business
definitely
office.
prefer to go in the direction where we can, because with the, going back to the two proposals we had, the lesser proposal, even that one, it like, how to say, it covers, say, 50% of what our iWorks does. So it's kind of, it makes sense to spend a little bit more to completely eliminate it because otherwise we're paying a lot more yearly. Although we will need to see how soon we can negate those contracts.
Understood.
All right. We're ready to vote on this? I'm gonna do a roll call vote. Gene,
Yes.
Jeff,
Aye.
Tammy, Valerie, Deborah,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
Arthur.
Aye.
Motion carries, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we just bought us a new software program. Hot dang it, the girls are happy in the office. All right, now we need to schedule the town council workshop for an ARPA fund workshop, so,
Mr. Mayor, if
Yes, ma'am.
council likes this approach where we have the work session prior to the meeting, if that's most convenient for all council, then we can certainly start doing that. There's about 3 different work sessions that need to be set up.
okay,
One of them being the ARPA funds, also now a work session on the rental of town hall, and a work session to begin the budget process.
yes, ma'am. Council, I mean, to me, it works great. We don't have to pick another night, to try to get everybody together. We know everybody's gonna be here. unless it's a scheduling conflict for having to come in at 6 o'clock or, you know, or whatever time we need. So how do y'all feel about that? Because if that's the case, we can do a motion on this one to schedule it for the next council meeting.
I guess the question is could we block off and like we did this evening, could we say from 5 to 6 is for the town hall rentals next month, and then from 6 to 7 is
We
the
can-
start of the discussion on the ARPA funds? I think that one's
We
gonna
can do whatever
continue.
you want.
I think
Yeah,
that one
I
will
agree.
continue into the next month or months.
We
like
need to put the
November
most
and
pertinent
December.
things at the front of that
Mhm.
docket.
Yeah,
But I
That's
like
fine.
having that time
Or-
in the head. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do we
fine.
want to define the times that strictly, just in case we would finish the first discussion in 20 minutes and then have 40 minutes to burn that we could have used on the ARP funds? But if we,
Well-
because if you schedule it at 6, we
Understood.
have to wait till 6.
Understood. So just combine them for
All right.
next.
Agreed.
Andrea, town hall rentals, we put that on her list for work session. Can we vote on that tonight? And the ARCA fund for the next meeting, both of them, work sessions.
What I would suggest that you do is at the end of the meeting tonight is just recess to whenever the next time is you're gonna meet.
On the
And then you
on
can,
the town hall rental.
no, just recess this meeting
Mm-hmm.
to, October 22nd. I'm just making that up. At 5 o'clock.
And then pick up
then
these two items.
you can have anything on the agenda.
Okay.
And, if something comes up between now and then,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we can do that after the closed session.
yes.
Okay. All right. Does that sound good, everybody? Everybody on board? with
So when are we meeting?
Ma'am, I'm sorry, Gene, I didn't hear you.
When are we going to meet for the work session?
5 o'clock next council meeting,
November
November
4th.
4th.
November 4th. November 4th at
Yes,
5 o'clock, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, moving on to item number 16.
Here.
Yes, ma'am.
I have an item of new business. It's the draft charter amendment that council talked about some time ago. In terms of reducing,
Oh,
yes, in terms of reducing the number of council members.
yes, ma'am.
I just, I've sent out 2 copies. In the first one, I had a mathematical problem.
This is 5.
1, 2. I just want to know if council wants to proceed with this because we need to get it to our representatives if we do.
I have some thoughts, but I'd like to give it to Valerie. Was the one to initially say something about it, so I'd like to let her go first.
All right. Go ahead, Valerie.
What?
On this charter, do you still want to go through with that or?
I think reducing to 5 just gives us, it's been so long, a little bit more competition for a variety of individuals that want to run. I don't know. Makes our meetings not shorter or longer. It's just, but if we have work sessions ahead of time. So, I mean, I am fine with it since I brought it up a year and a half ago, but defer to whomever else.
Okay. Excuse me. It certainly interested me at the time. However, the problem I have at the moment, back then, and that was again before I was up here, but it was put off at the time because there was the new council coming in, and it was long off from the time when the assembly was meeting, and at the time was discussed that we would be pursuing a lot of public feedback. I would really refrain from making any kind of decision without any public feedback, and since we didn't have the ability to have that tonight, I wouldn't really want to forward that with making any kind of major changes.
You still have, like, if you wanted to advertise an information session or a public hearing, you still have the time where you could do that if you're interested in pursuing this.
Okay, well, were you needing to take some action yourself? Like if we were to say, yes, we want to go that way, would you be doing something right tomorrow or something? Or when do you need to know?
Let me pull up the schedule. Probably like the end of November, be the absolute drop dead.
So we could put an informational thing for the next meeting and try to solicit some feedback.
You could.
I'd like to hear from the public if it's not going to hurt anybody. Okay.
I think, Jeff, one of the reasons that it was brought up was thinking it is hard sometimes to find in this small town that many people that
Oh, I
want to
agree.
run, and it gives you a better quality of you oftentimes get a better campaign when you really have more voters behind. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I think that's the perspective. It's not to have less voices, or I think it's just to run a more competitive campaign, which is probably healthier. So I mean, I haven't thought any more about it really until we just saw this either, but
Yeah,
I
it is.
probably think it's a good thing. We are a small town, and I think it may have even better representation.
It may well be. I just would like to hear from some
It's
folks
just my
and
thought,
not
yeah.
us decide it.
I could be wrong, but that's my thought.
So do you want us to advertise that as a public hearing?
Well, that would cost us.
Well, we could just promote it as a public hearing. It
Okay.
wouldn't be,
I mean, that's fine.
yeah.
I mean, well, that's just for me. That's not getting everybody's.
All right, everybody else feel about the same, we just discuss it next meeting? Maybe see if we can get some, public input on how we should, look at this. Arthur, Jerry, Tammy? Gene?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, we'll, put it on the agenda for next meeting, and we'll try to get some public information out. All right,
Okay.
you got that, Gene? We're gonna put it on the next meeting?
I got it.
Okay,
I got it. I'm ready for number 16. That's wrong.
We're,
all right, thank you, ma'am.
we're not
right.
having a public hearing in regards to it for the next meeting?
No, we're not gonna announce a public here and pay for that. We're gonna put it out as an informational and get some public information in on it. Yeah, like a public hearing, yes. So if you want people to come in, we're gonna put it out there, how bulletin board, email, what?
All the above?
Yeah, all the above.
Arthur, like that thing we did at the
Website.
planning commission forever ago. Like that, I guess.
Website, Facebook, we have a
Okay, okay. All
expert here.
right, all right. That way,
Okay.
all right, moving on.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, can we just, we're not going to be talking about the ARPA funds until that work session, so I think this next item should just be deferred.
All right. Do I here's defer number 16? Agreed? All right, we'll add that on to the adjourning the meeting. Recessing, excuse me. All right, so number 16 is gonna be on the recess. Next one is Virginia Occupational Safety Health Bosch Program regulations that the attorney has kind of narrowed down for us at 70-page.
No, that's the state board
Mm-hmm.
did them. And, I'm sure you're probably familiar with the Occupational Health and Safety Board, OSHA. This comes through that avenue on the state level. Virginia was first in the nation back in January in implementing these regulations. And as things have changed, the regulations were recently revised. They carry a potential penalty of $13,000 for a single offense. For willful or repeat offenses or refusal to abate something, it's $113,000 and some change. Back in the winter, early spring, there were investigations on complaints about these violations that were occurring. And there were some localities that were having multiple investigations at one time. And then as I think the infections off, and that the governor, was opening things up and then eliminated the state of emergency, I didn't hear any more chatter from my colleagues across the state about enforcement. I do expect that at some point there will be enforcement. My instinct would be that it might not really come until after the election. Everything seems to be pretty wide open right now. But as annoying as it is, and it annoys me too, because I've had to read and interpret I don't know how many versions of these. They really are just as important as the other safety requirements that we have from OSHA. And we do need to accept them as the new normal, at least for the foreseeable future. I think we all kind of came into this pandemic thinking, oh, well, like 9 months, a year. So, they may revise this again in another 6 months, but for right now, while our transmission rate is high, which it still currently is, everyone who's an employer and an employee must wear a mask. And I would say, I looked at the numbers for Caroline, they're dropping. And then I looked at another locality where the infection rate was like 4.5%, and they were still considered a high community of transmission. So we have to wear a mask if it's substantial or high. So I guess we've got a ways to go, because I thought 4% really wasn't that bad. It does delineate separate protections for unvaccinated persons, and then has some of the requirements from before about making available hand washing and alcohol wipes and sanitary practices and things like that.
Well, bottom line, this is one of those ones that we just have to do regardless, and it applies whether we do it or not, or.
Yeah, I mean, and people are really, really aggravated about it.
I'm one of them.
You're right.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, but it's just, this is a law, and it's pretty substantial penalties. They're not going to be covered by insurance. They're going to come out of the town's coffers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but seriously though, like if we were to just do nothing about this, it still applies to us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
If there was a way out of it, I'd have found it by now.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, the town attorney and I have gone over this in detail, and with the understanding that the attorney's still reviewing them continuously. And this town staff we've taken additional measures to make sure that we comply with these regulations.
Thank you. I know that's an uplifting topic.
Well, we passed a similar one a couple months ago. At least once.
Yeah.
Always nice to have you talk to us, Andrea.
Thank you. I don't write it, I just report it.
This is when we have to move to adopt, right? Or this was just information?
No, it's been
okay.
adopted.
Okay,
yeah.
well, the last time we had to
Yeah,
adopt that we were going to do what they said. All right, cool.
And if I remember correctly, BIOS overrides OSHA.
Really,
The
OSHA.
states overrides the governments. Is that right? I think that's the way it goes.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
originally back in January, or actually even before that, because they had a temporary standard, when you went online to file a complaint, you went straight to the OSHA website.
Yeah. Now you got your
You
own
don't mess with us.
laws, rules, breaking
Yeah, so they
penalties.
have their own investigators.
All right. Moving on to committees. Does any committee want to report?
Or, like normal, most of our report is pretty much covered in Josh's report. You know, it's basically facility updates. Still waiting on some quotes for things like the playground and security measures. Let's see. We talked about the need for the ARPA work session. And I think we touched on that software then. I want to thank Tammy for really spearheading a lot of things, going out and talking to folks on things that we needed. One topic we've been discussing lately is the public land we have over in the meadows on Dickinson Lane, and Tammy helped to unsurface some of the history information about that. We've all taken a look at the site, and we're trying to figure out. We have a greater momentum to assess all of the different public lots that we have in town to see what, if anything, we should be changing or doing about them. That particular site needs a little bit of work, so we're looking into that. And that's about it. Thanks.
Anybody else?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
There was some discussion on Facebook about the bike lanes, especially down
that.
West Broadus. So I contacted Kyle with BDOT, and he said at the end of October, they have it on the schedule for maintenance. And they'll also try to restripe that lane by then. But, you know, all that's weather pending, yada, yada, yada. So if anybody asks, that's when it's scheduled for.
Arthur?
Are there any, Tammy, are there any news, anything on the agenda anytime for sidewalks on Murray Avenue? Because we have a lot of walkers and they're not walking on the sidewalk. It's too dangerous. It's very uneven and it's not safe to run or walk or,
I know, you know, we've been over this, but
yeah. Did we ever get any answers?
didn't get an affirm answer. But
Yeah.
the feeling that I got from them was, you know, they're still parking on the sidewalks.
They're not. They're parking on the side of the road, but not on the sidewalks. But yeah, I know they say that.
Yeah. You know, we had a big work truck out there that I think one day that we went and looked at it, you know, was parked on the sidewalk doing somebody's housework. But,
Yeah, I mean,
and then he also said it was a fund issue. And I was hoping when they came and fixed the other sidewalks that they would do some repairs down there. So I guess they ran out of money or something because they didn't
Okay.
attempt to do anything.
Thank you.
I was just gonna touch base. I think a couple meetings ago, you said that we would touch base back about the Smart Scale project and see where we're at on that.
I haven't heard anything on it. I hadn't even talked with Kyle about it either. Have you heard anything?
I
Okay.
haven't, I didn't.
Maybe no news is good news. SMART program. Have you heard anything lately on that? Yeah, that's the one where they want to close and do the.
He said that, I did talk to Kyle about it at VDOT, and he said as long as the town makes a decision if they would like to change it, it needs to be done before the first penny is spent on the project, and we have a few years till that happens.
Changed by then. There was something. Oh, we are in talks with Bill Webb about public parking in the town. There is no really. We got the one lot over here on Chase Street, which is gravelled, which we need to pave that here sometime. And we need to put signage up stating that we have public parking in this town. Parking is very tight. We got the heist opening up here in November. We got the corner store, we got the new gym, Mexican, we got everything. We got all the buildings are getting somebody in them, and we're very limited on parking. Bill says he doesn't mind providing parking, but he can't maintain the property. And, so he's come to the town and talking with us and seeing what we can do to provide public parking using his parking lot behind the old bank building where the heist is and the coffee shop. All that is owned by him. The buildings that are there, they don't even own any parking behind it. So when they park, they're parking on his lot or they're parking on the main street or they walk to work. So we're very limited on parking and we have businesses coming in and we're trying to grow. So we're in talks with him right now. And we'll let you know more as we go along with it and see what's going on, and we'll bring it to council. Yeah, Jerry?
Real quick, EDA didn't meet last month in August, but they did, September, but you did meet in August. And in our packet is a letter addressed to you, sir, from EDA, from the chair, John Lane, who's requesting 20%, appropriate 20% of funds for the ARP for infrastructure, visitation, tourism. They want to beautify the town, and they're going to come up with a clear scope of what the estimate would be. So that's something I know we're supposed to talk in the next work session, but I just
Okay.
want to let you know. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Anybody else before we go to a short recess and go into closed session?
There is a thing I wanted to ask.
Yes, sir.
With this new setup, I want to get everybody's opinion on it. Just how you felt with having the meeting down here, spread out a little more in the format. I'm noticing I can't see Deborah, so I'd like to make this more of a V next time. Hi. But other than that, what's everybody's thoughts?
I feel like a swivel neck. I'm doing this.
So you agree a little bit more of a V would be good?
It's
Okay.
yeah.
I like
Alright.
it.
I just
I'm
wanted to get
good.
some feedback because I helped set it up.
All right.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion to go into closed session? Can you read it, please?
Yeah, is there a motion to go into closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1 for the purpose of the discussion of the hiring of a town manager?
So moved.
All right, I got a first by Jeff. I got a second by Tammy. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Thank you, Gene. Oppose? We'll take about a 10-minute recess and we will meet back here and go to closed session. Thank you.
that only identified in the motion to go meeting was heard, discussed, or considered.
Yes, I make that motion.
You got a
I
motion by
second.
Tammy,
I
second by
And if
Arthur?
each of you would individually certify, starting with Jean.
Yes.
Okay, you can disconnect her now.
All right. Jeff?
Jean, we're hanging up.
I so certify.
So, all right, Tammy?
I so certify.
I so
Valerie?
certify.
Deborah?
Certify.
I
Jerry?
certify.
I certify.
Arthur?
Okay.
Now,
Is there a motion to approve the employment agreement between the town of Bowling Green and Allison Fincham?
So moved.
Second.
I have first by Jeff. I got a second by Arthur. Is that right? Okay. Do a roll call.
Yes.
Jean, yes. Jean,
Yes.
Jeff, Tammy,
Yes.
Valerie,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Jerry, Arthur.
Yes.
Unanimous vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I know you will continue doing a job well done like you have.
Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
Is
All right.
there a motion to go into closed meeting
Yes.
pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1 for the discussion of the performance of a specific employee?
Do we have a motion?
Moved.
So moved
moved.
by Jeff.
That's a. Is that just a reformatting of the other motion that was on the agenda before, or is an addition?
Okay, so the motion that was on the agenda is sort of a placeholder. It's not technically correct. There are three parts to a motion. The purpose and the other a more specific delineation. So 2.23711 discuss the hiring of a town manager, or to discuss 3711A1 to discuss the performance of a specific employee.
Okay.
The
Statement you're saying. Or are
no,
we
I'm
talking about-
explaining that's why we can't use the motion that's on the packet.
Got you.
And pardon? Yeah, you can go in to discuss specific employees, but if you're talking about, I don't know, the organizational chart or the responsibilities and duties of like an entire staff, that is not something that can be discussed in closed meetings. So I'm not sure exactly what you all want to talk about, but that's what I thought you wanted.
Okay.
Personnel issues is not a correct topic.
Correct. It has to
So-
be more detailed.
Why did we just go into closed session and certify on a topic that's not correct?
Well,
That's-
we haven't gone back in yet. No,
Just
when
cer-
we went,
We just
First time?
certified on that. Okay, so
Yeah.
that was correct for that topic.
it was.
Okay.
That's why I said it that way. Yeah.
Well, I was,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I was confused by the.
No, that's
title.
okay.
Okay.
I mean, if you don't want to go into closed meeting, you don't have to.
Oh no,
We-
this was the plan. It was just I realized it was slightly different language, and we didn't specify before the first one that we were basically that was kind of catch-all, and we were splitting it into two separate ones. That's all. I was just trying to clarify all that. This seems to meet with my expectations, I believe. So
Okay, so the motion I articulated is correct?
I think so.
Okay,
I think so.
so.
Yes. Sounds like it is a different closed session. Yes. And Mr. Volt over there will be leading us.
I made an initial motion.
Well, I guess mine was, from what Andrea said, just like a generalized topic that could be discussed in open session, because you said we can't discuss anything about job duties or org chart, so wouldn't go into closed session.
I think, as I understand it, Mr. Holy, is that Mr. Voigt seems to have something in mind.
Okay, that's fine. Then.
Yeah,
I don't
it
think
wasn't.
it's the same thing as what you have in
Okay,
mind.
that's fine.
It may not be the same thing as
Well, no, you didn't vote.
I did.
I
I second the motion.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you're in closed session.
come out of closed session and we need to certify that what we discussed in closed session was
Is-
what we went into closed session about.
Their motion to reconvene in open session and certify that the
So moved.
All right, we got a first by Jeff, second by Tammy. Gene's not here. Jeff,
I certify.
Tammy, Valerie, Deborah, Jerry, Arthur.
I certify.
All right. Now we're out of closed session, correct? All right. Okay, now we need to do a recess and
Okay, Mr. Mayor,
Recon-
I move that we recess until, what was the date? 5
5
p.m.
p.m. November
on
4th
November 4th.
for work session. No,
Don't need to
just
add that.
just
Just
recess.
recess our meeting.
I have a motion on the floor by Jeff, a second by Arthur. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? All right, good deal. We are out of business.